People often ask me, Jakus, what's your favorite Fortnite season? Now, this should be a fairly tricky question. There are now 40 seasons to choose from, with more coming out every year, and so many of them are so damn good. How do you even answer a question like that? It's you. Chapter 2, Season 7, Invasion, is one of those seasons that I will ride or die for. This is an era of the game that was so narrative focused that it made for a really exciting storyline to follow. You had weeks and weeks of teasers building up to the new season, even little alien abductions that were so rare that they actually felt like seeing a UFO in real life. Not that I would know that feeling for any CIA agents watching. Then the season drops, there's a giant mothership, and oh my god, the spire is gone and the foundation's in the ocean and Sloan is commanding us. Okay, whatever you say, mama. Is that Rick and Morty? Getting the inevitable out of the way, yes, this season didn't have too much in the way of map changes. It's pretty much identical to the Season 1 map at this point, just with a few major differences. They definitely could have done a lot more with this season, added a whole alien biome. I feel like we kind of saw what that could have looked like in Chapter 3 with the vibe and reality biome, but alas, this is easily the biggest drawback here. However, I do believe that a season can get away with a lack of major map changes if it has a strong content flow otherwise, and this season had that in spades. But first, our alien overlords have a transmission they'd like to share with us. Get Into Teaching has kindly sponsored this video so that I can talk to you about their new Fortnite island, Mr. Pickle 2 Student Run, a super nifty little Fall Guys platformer. This island is the perfect intro into teaching. You'll help the student NPCs by completing puzzles and obstacle courses, which, side note, I am really not very good at, like this is low-key embarrassing. Guide Barnaby, show Penelope how to think creatively, give Jasper confidence, and help Sybil solve a problem, all while collecting star coins and tackling surprisingly nerve-wracking parkour. And then, after all that, you might just get to meet Mr. Pickle himself. Oh, look at that, he's so beautiful. It's a full adventure-style experience with different gameplay sections that are all built around the kinds of skills teachers use every day, and it is super fun. Every mission is based around stuff real teachers do. Leadership, creativity, problem-solving, and thinking under pressure. I feel like a lot of people imagine teaching as just standing in front of a whiteboard all day, but this shows how active and creative it actually is. And honestly, if you enjoy helping teammates improve in games, explaining strategies, leading squads, you will already be using a lot of the same skills. So if you've ever thought about becoming a teacher, or want to learn more about it, or you just think you can do a better job helping the students than I did, definitely check this out. The island code is on screen now, there's a link down in the description, and huge thanks again to Get Into Teaching for sponsoring this video. The launch loot pool for this season is pretty basic, but overall very strong and sturdy, with a lot of items that just mesh well together. The AR-AK combo is one that I wish we saw more of during this chapter, and the fusion of crafting into side grading allows for alternate playstyles to shine through, with items like the burst AR and lever action shotgun. This is easily the best application of crafting and side grading as mechanics, and I really wish it stuck around for more than just the last 2 seasons of this chapter. Also, nuts and bolts. Can we finally get those in creative, please? It's been 5 years. But the brand new high-tech additions are what really shine here. The ray gun trades damage for consistency and makes for a great pressure power. The pulse rifle is a great reuse of the concept introduced by the Stark Energy rifle, and it's just a really solid and underrated rifle. And the railgun is just awesomely powerful. Fun fact for you, the railgun was originally going to be blue, and you can see this in some shots of the Battle Pass trailer. Neat, huh? You also have the recon scanner, which really refines on the location scanning idea introduced by the flare gun to create a must-carry utility item. Then there are the UFOs, which could definitely be a little annoying at times, but are undeniably a very fun and very silly vehicle. Honestly, after a chapter of all the vehicles just being like real-ass cars, it was pretty nice to see something truly different to play around with. Also, picking up and lobbing giant props like trees is way too much fun. Invasion is a summer season, which means it runs the risk of having somewhat of a content drought. However, this really wasn't an issue here. The first update introduced the Cosmic Summer, this year's summer event, which on its own is fine. Some good cosmetic rewards locked behind fairly tedious creative challenges, whatever, but what dropped alongside Cosmic Summer is what really made this era, and that's the abductors. Every match would have a bunch of abductors above random POIs, and if you land there, you can get, well, abducted, and complete a floaty knockback minigame in classic POIs. The abductors are easily one of the coolest features in this season. When you introduce a mid-match objective like this, especially one that doesn't even take place on the island, you run run the risk of creating this big side quest that detracts from the rest of the match, but in my opinion, the abductors were handled really well. They are totally optional, they're very fun, and you can get some seriously worthwhile loot if you perform well. It's short and sweet and a real highlight of the invasion. I also like that there's no logical lore reason for Sunny Steps or the Butter Barn to be in here. It's just hype moments and aura, and I'm chowing down on the bait, man. It's so freaking cool. This summer also saw the first major creative concert event, Easy Life at the O2. This was a little primitive, but really cool at the time, and it really inspired me as a new creator. I've been to the O2 in London a few times. It's a really cool venue and was translated pretty well into Fortnite here. The whole experience is just a lot of fun, and this event introduced me to a new indie band that I love, the band formerly known as Easy Life. So yeah, I thought it was pretty nifty. There are actually quite a lot of events in this season, just little optional things for you to get some additional cosmetics and have fun with your friends. You had stuff like Best Frenzy and the Island games, but I won't spend too much time dwelling on those because I don't think anybody's looking back at Invasion and going, oh man, I really miss the Island games. Throughout July and August, we got banger item after banger item. I don't know if any other season has had so many creative item ideas. I suppose the alien theme lends itself to some more out-of-the-box concepts, but even so, the creative team really earned their pay this summer. You can tell they had a lot of fun cooking up these items in the studio. I mean, we started off strong with the inflatable, a super creative movement item and a really fun rotational item. The Chapter 2 island has a ton of natural height variation, so I think it lends itself quite well to a physics-based mobility item like this, especially with the more mountainous regions towards the southeast. Alien nanites are a really nifty low-grav item, and, well, I wouldn't say they were very useful, but fighting in them was quite fun. It's very unique how you have to kind of jump to actually move around in them. Plus, they're responsible for literally the only map change Holly Hedges ever got, so that's neat. I actually thought this was a really interesting area for early game encounters, but I never really got to the point of these little alien parasite thingies. I like that they distort your voice though, that's kind of funny. I really like how they leaned into the Imagined Order and Last Reality's high-tech weaponry for this season, and I wish that we kept getting more cool stuff like these items. Like the plasma cannon, for example, looks like it's using some 0-point energy or something, which is super awesome. This item is just really good in general. It's one of my favorites from this whole season. Then you have the Grabatron, a handheld version of the UFO's main capability, which is admittedly not super useful in combat, mostly because it can be very unwieldy to use, but it is fun in more casual modes like Team Rumble. And the Proper Fire, which is just okay. Yeah, I mean, when you can just go to an NPC and buy a prop disguise, you don't really need this thing. It's very limited. But it's cool. This season also temporarily replaced Whiplashes with the Ferrari 296 GTP sports car. In more recent chapters, the concept of using real-world cars on the Fortnite map is nothing to write home about, but at the time it was really novel. Also, you could literally fly, up and away! I think a lot of people take this for granted now, but this season also added the ability to choose your preferred item slots, which is just a really great quality of life change. I set mine when this was released and I never looked back. Invasion also introduced two notable new modes. Firstly, 17.20 added Booger's Late Game, which is probably the single greatest competitive focused mode ever conceived. I genuinely think that this is one of the most fun LTMs they've ever made. You literally just get dropped into the endgame with a full random loadout. It's the most realistic, quick, and chaotic competitive mode they've made to date, and I love it a bit. It's so addictive. And then 17.40 added Imposters, a social deduction game that actually stuck around for almost an entire year. On launch, this mode drew a lot of controversy for essentially being an Among Us ripoff, but I actually think they did a really good job of translating the gameplay formula that Among Us did so well into a 3D space in the Fortnite sandbox. Considering this is one of the first real attempts at a social mode, I think they did a pretty good job. And of course, the lore implications. I tell you what, as a big lore fan during this time, I was eating good, man. I was eating so good. And as if all that content wasn't enough, all of those items and modes and changes and wild weeks too, there was still more content. This remains one of the only seasons to have not one, but two distinct, full-scale live events. In early August, a mysterious UFO appeared over the middle of the map with a countdown in the sky. The hype as the countdown hits 0 and a square rift opens up, taking us through a trip down memory lane into the Rift Tour, a true visual treat with a virtual performance from Ariana Grande as well as a few other songs. The Rift Tour is one of Fortnite's most visually ambitious live events ever. And you know what? I'll say it. I think this blew Travis Scott's concert out of the water. There are so many cool segments that you really don't know what to expect next. I mean, come on, dude. There's a whole Storm King mini boss fight in here. How dope is that? And then, just 1 month later, the end of season story event hit, Operation Skyfire. Man, this is just one of the greats. Following Sloane's lead as we infiltrate this truly gargantuan mothership, evading alien fire and literally blowing the place up makes for such a thriller. And don't get me started on Sloane's betrayal and the reveal that Kevin the Cube is alive and well, and oh my god, there are so many of him! It's very much a hallway runner like some of the other events of this time, but the brief interactable moments like rebooting the cube alongside the chilling ambience and the truly fantastic soundtrack really make this an exciting experience. That final shot as we watch cubes rain down on an island in ruin, turning around to see the mothership literally falling out of the sky. Literal chills, man. Also, while we're on this topic, does anybody remember Mari? We heard her, she had a lot of voiced quest lines and teasers. She teased Skyfire and wrote the patch notes, but then after the end of the season, we never heard from her again. They got her, bro. They actually got her.
What does that mean?
I liked her too.
Wait, what do you mean they got it?
Invasion was just such a bloody good ride from start to finish. This is a true roller coaster of a season, except it's like 99% the awesome drop at the end that makes everybody scream. However, this season isn't all sunshine and rainbows, peaches and cream, okay? Don't worry, I very much do have the capacity to bitch about things that I really like, and Fortnite Invasion does have a few major missteps that I think I should address. Firstly, the Battle Pass rework in this season was completely unnecessary, and honestly, just made for a worse system. I don't really get the point of the battle stars, and the whole choose your next rewards thing kinda falls apart when there are arbitrary limitations to stop you skipping too far ahead anyway. Really felt like they were changing things just for the sake of changing things. And this battle pass wasn't really anything to write home about anyway. I think Sloane pretty much carried this one. The customizable alien guy is pretty cool, but the cosmic chests you had to open to get his styles truly are the work of evil. They didn't spawn in solos, which was pretty much all I played because this was still during the Fortnite Lebad and cringe era that meant nobody wanted to play. Maybe that's just a skill issue, maybe I should have had better friends, but I was also like 15, so cut me some slack, bruh. Cosmic chests, hate them, they suck. Blow them up, get them out of there, never bring them back. Fuck cosmic chests, that's my point. This season also unfortunately kinda wrecked my favorite casual mode, Team Rumble. Team Rumble was a staple of Fortnite, but this season changed the way that the storm and quests work, and I think it really devalued this mode forever, which is such a big shame. Also, as the season progressed, the mothership would go on to abduct a few POIs. This was really cool while it was happening, but after the abduction was over, the POI would just become a shell of its former self. Corny crops. I don't think many people cared about Coral Castle in the first place, to be fair, but I really don't think anyone was waking up going, oh man, I can't wait to drop into sludgy swamp. It was just super lame. However, I do like that right after the abduction, the POI that just got taken would appear in the mothership minigame. That was a really cool bit of continuity. Also, loot llamas gained sentience, it became 10,000 times more annoying to break open, and Discover was introduced and ruined my life forever. But hey, this is the season that added free guy ATMs to the map, so I can't stay mad at you. Don't have a good day. Have a great day. When people talk about the best seasons of Chapter 2, Invasion is almost always part of the conversation, and I think that is absolutely deserved. This season probably has the strongest content flow of the entire chapter, and most certainly one of the strongest seasonal atmospheres Fortnite has ever created. I truly think this season would be in top 5 of all time talks if it happened a year prior, if it happened during the lockdowns like Top Secret. Chapter 2 Season 7 wasn't perfect. The map could have changed more dramatically, and you could do this, but when people remember Fortnite's greatest seasons, they remember moments. They remember flying a UFO for the first time and lobbing their friends about. They remember getting abducted into the mothership. They remember watching Ariana Grande throw it back. They remember flying around in a weird bubblegum blob. That's why Invasion remains one of Fortnite's most beloved seasons, and I totally agree. There is so much in the package here, so much to love, and if you don't feel the same way I do, don't worry, you're just wrong. I kid, but Invasion is one of the most joyful and whimsical seasons of Fortnite, and really, it's only part 1. Chapter 2 Season 8, Cubed, is basically a continuation of Invasion, and I kinda love it for that. And they have the chance to rectify some of the mistakes they made with Invasion, so let's take a look at the next season's map changes. Oh god damn it! This isn't even a bug. They can just do that IRL.